sometimes a brand is considered a long-term investment. And when we do these billboards or like brand campaigns, on one hand, yes, we can do holdout tests, right? Like at locations, we have the brand campaign, certain locations we don't, or we can observe for, the enterprise decision makers. We want to put a billboard in front of their, way to work. And
exactly.
Like, how are you actually just thinking about brand measurement, and how do you talk to your finance team about brand investment, and how do you think about the ROI of it?
Yeah, good question.
If I can jump in with the more specifics from a Grammarly, and would love to hear your thoughts, right? So I think, Austin, this is touch on what you said too. So in my time there, Grammarly was also spending 9-digit every year on 30 channels, right? a lot. So the majority of them are performance marketing. So when the head of brand came into place, right, based on the estimation of the brand lift, right, the awareness to consideration conversion, I actually work with that person to size some potential impact, to say, hey, if you take a little portion from that 9-digit, right, spend a couple $1 million here, we might be able to create an outsized impact, and ABC. But then there is not enough of data on the timeline, right? But then when we went to the finance team, is like, hey, the performance team to say, well, I spend this much, I bring you this much customer during the back to school, right? But when we talk about the branding, there is some estimation, there is an uncertain timeline, there's a lot of ambiguity, and it always got shut down by the finance team. So it creates a lot of frustration from the branding person, because majority of the brand campaign, I remember, got put off and put off again. So again, we'd love to hear your point of view. I lived through this, and I had my part of the frustration too. I don't know what's good. Even with the brand measurement, we weren't able to solve the problem.
Yeah. Well, it's an imperfect, I think it's a hard problem to solve, because first of all, we're trying to apply a scientific approach to an art. That's one. Two is we're trying to be so scientific about it as to create experiments that are supposed to measure things, and true measurement requires statistical significance, and statistical significance requires time. And no CFO, if they agree to your original budget, no startup CFO, if they agree to your original budget, is going to be like, yes, and also you could just repeat this for 2 years or 3 years, because that's the amount of time you need to do 3 brand awareness surveys, 1 per year, and find the right people to answer the survey. So we're trying to solve a big company problem in a small company way by applying, scaling the solution down, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for anybody. It doesn't work for any of the people that are in the chat who are asking about it. I think Austin was asking about it from Notion. You need a long time to be scientifically accurate in your measurements. Here's what you could do with a short period of time if nobody's giving you a long time. Number one, use all the tools at your disposal to collect feedback, right? So, okay, big companies, big consumer packaged goods companies, they spend so much money on brand and so much money on brand research. Probably the biggest part of their budgets go towards research, and they hire market research agencies, and those market research agencies also have different flavors, but they directly pull consumers, they pull consumers into interviews, they pull consumers into focus groups, and they have them answer questions. The most important question to gauge an understanding of whether or not your brand campaigns are working is if you find the correct ICP, right? You find the correct ICP out on the street, and you don't know them because they're randomly selected, but they are the correct ICP, and you ask them for Notion, for example, or for Segment, for example. The first question that you have to ask is, could you list? You explain. A customer data platform is a software tool that allows you to process all of the data that you have about your customers in one place and send sets of that data to anywhere that you need to use it. That's what it is. You define it. And then you ask them, can you name 5 customer data platforms? That's called unaided awareness. And that's probably the most important question that you can ask to understand whether or not people know what your brand is. If your brand gets named in their top 5, everyone can celebrate. You get a standing ovation, right? Chances are, as a startup, it's not going to happen. You know why? You know how hard it is? Okay, so I'm selling developer tools. Like I'm selling customer data platforms. To find the right people to answer that survey is incredibly challenging. Because these massive survey companies, these market research companies, they come with their background is like consumer packaged goods. So they can poll anybody because we all eat snacks, and we can all like answer questions about snacks. You don't have to be highly qualified to do that. But to find someone who's an actual freaking developer, who's like, oh, it comes from a mid-sized company and they have a director title or above, you know how long that's going to take and how expensive that's going to be? And you're trying to run that to statistical significance, and you're trying to run that for 3 years in a row, no CFO is going to say yes to that. It's just not going to happen, right? But it is a way you could do it. It will achieve your goal of measurement. So, so that's the answer. There's a way, but the reality of that answer is it's completely unrealistic to spend your time and energy on that. More like what I would do is I would spend the time and energy to explain the constraints to your CEO and your CFO and like your leadership board and be like, y'all, we all have the same common instinct that brand helps. Like you can forward them the Fast Company article about Airbnb and how brand marketing is the ish right now. And they could be like, here are the constraints. We can absolutely be scientific. We can 100% answer this question if you give me 3 years to do it, and X number of dollars to hire the market research agency that's going to find the correct ICP to get me enough people to answer in a statistically significant way. I'm going to descend from my soapbox because this question is so common. Everybody lives this, but there's the answer. It's the answer in 2 parts.
I love it. I was laughing as you were describing it because like everyone says, yes, you can just do surveys, but actually when you execute, this is the difference between just talking about it versus doing it. When you actually do it, when you actually go find, like the survey monkeys of the world, and they're like, oh no, we actually cannot drill down to this like particular ICP vertical that you want. We only have like 25 people, or you need to pay like $100,000 to find another like more specialized survey company. And then exactly. Like if you run this like year over year, oh, actually, by the way, there are the same people, like 30% of people that you already surveyed in your like next year's pool, and then like then your survey is not totally accurate. So it's like this is like a huge difference between like, yes, just do surveys versus people who's on the ground actually need to execute on the work. That is my soapbox moment as well.
Yeah, and we all of us marketers, we share this like essential tension.
Yeah, even as a data person, I get involved in all the measurement. I realize sometimes I spend more time to tell them not to overthink over the numbers, right? There's not to take it too seriously because there are things you just can't get to the bottom of it. Yeah, I was typing basically feels like CFOs need to talk to you, Maya. That will make all startups' job so much easier.
Thank you, especially over a drink. Imagine my soapbox when I have a drink.